Hey, Bruce Dale, your boomer consumer, and welcome to my channel. If you like what I do here, hit that like and subscribe button. Mean a lot to me. You know, as a boomer, I figured out one thing I would not be good at, and that is being a cashier. You know why? Because those boomers hate change. Bad joke, right? But if you're looking to change your DAC and streamer, you might want to check out the Matrix Audio Mini i4 DAC network streamer device. What a wonderful machine. Supports for PCs, your Mac, televisions, analog sources. It's got AirPlay, Tidal, Qobuz, and is just waiting on Roon certification. This is for somebody who really wants an excellent DAC with a ton of inputs. It's well made in a great package for $650. Let's see if this is worth buying. So this is my review of the Matrix Audio Mini i4 DAC and network streamer. And before we get started with the actual, all the specs and functionality, I want to make it real clear, when you get this one and not the Pro model, this does not support Wi-Fi or Bluetooth. So you need to connect this via Ethernet before you install the remote app on your phone or tablet, okay? So I just want to get that out of the way. Consider that a public service announcement. Let's just go over some of the basic specifications. I have a link to more information about this in the description down below. But you get the Sabre ES9039Q 2M chip in here, DAC chip. It comes with a 3.5-inch LCD display. Size is 8.8 inches in width by 7.32 in depth and just slightly over 2 inches in height. It does come and support HDMI ARC, which is a very nice touch, by the way. You get a remote app for free. You can download that for iOS and Android. It does offer playback from USB storage devices. It'll also play back from your NAS. It supports DLNA, etc. USB support is up to 24-bit, 768 kilobits. So it's got an excellent DAC in here. DSD up to 2.8 megahertz. It is Roon ready. However, I believe they're waiting for Roon certification. And it offers full MQA decode. So on the top, we have a power off and on button. And then I activated these controls here with the remote app. It does work with capacitive touch. I found that to be a bit fiddly to get these to appear. This would be your input up and down. You can switch from USB, coax to optical to HDMI, etc. through here. And then these will adjust your volume up and down. Now, to access the settings inside the, I'm just going to call this the Mini 4. Just go ahead and swipe, and then you see your inputs will come up here, your coaxial, optical, USB, streaming, auxiliary in. There we go, come on, there we go. Go back to inputs, streaming, auxiliary, and ARC, HDMI. Click home, swipe again, various filters, minimum phase, appetizing, linear phase, fast roll off. Sure does want to get out of there very quickly. Linear phase, just multiple filters. I'm not going to go through them all. I didn't really find any sonic difference by using the different filters. You might, but I didn't. Go back. Then we can go into various settings, your product info. So you can see for network, the only type of network is supported is LAN. Get back out of there. Remote control, you can get the optional remote. I think it's around $50. But you can get it, it does not come with it. Go back to settings. Here we go, remote control. Load your defaults or updates. Select your language. App connection, verification, and tech support. Go back home. And that is it. That is all that's really available on the front panel. Not a lot to fiddle with the Mini 4. Okay, so let's take a tour of the back. You have your power input, your LAN connection, USB Type-C port for, say, a thumb drive, music on a external hard drive. Then you have your USB-B port connecting to a computer, for example, your HDMI ARC connection. You have your optical input, coaxial input. Then you have one analog inputs, both left and right, for, maybe you want to plug a CD player into it, or you have a turntable with its own preamp out, you could plug that into there. You have your single-ended RCA connections for output, and then you have your left and right XLR connections. And that is what's on the back of the Matrix Mini i4. Okay, so I thought I'd just give you a quick tour of the remote app. So this is kind of the control center here. In the upper right-hand corner is a gear icon. If you tap that, that's just the settings for the remote application, not the DAC streamer. Language, theme, display sort, parent screen, timeout, touch vibration, matrix community, terms of use, version info. What you really want to do is you want to come to configure, and this is for the DAC amp, or for the DAC streamer. I keep wanting to call it DAC amp, sorry. Now, there you can change the device name, the line out mode, so you can either do like a fixed output, or you can use variable output on there, etc. Auxiliary input gain, your DPL bandwidth, that has to do with clock and jitter. So if you want to play around with that, gapless playback, volume limit, default startup volume, auto sleep, auto dimmer, brightness settings, touch key buzzer, backlight brightness, standby button, short press function, date and time, device shortcut menu, programmable button setting, device information, user manual, check for updates and release notes. Pretty much everything you need is going to be right there. Let's get out of this page. Actually, let's go back into this. Up in the right-hand corner, and this might be a little difficult to see, the little box with looks like an antenna on it. That's the actual area you go to mimic the physical remote control. So we'll tap that. And here you have your power off and on, sleep mode, your different inputs, USB, coax, optical, HDMI ARC, streaming, and analog. You can adjust this little wheel right here with your finger to raise or lower the volume, mute, and then you can access your various filters. I really can't tell a difference sonically with these different filters. I just couldn't. Maybe you can play with them for sure if that's what you want to do. We'll get out of that. All right, let's get out of there. And then we'll, down at the bottom, we now have your library. You have streaming, internet radio, my favorites, and discovery. So we're going to go into library. That's going to be your local music. I have a Plex media server running on a Mac Mini. And let's go ahead and take a look at music. And by album, and it's actually pretty fast. A bunch of my different albums on here. The one thing I've noticed is on occasion, I'll see an album that I know is there, but it will show nothing when I tap on there. It will show like nothing. I'm not sure why that is. Maybe a slight bug in the software, but for the most part, it seems to work pretty well. All right, now let's go into down at the bottom here. Let's get out of here. You notice how we're going to kind of back out if we go into internet radio, or if we go into streaming rather. Here we go. Some of your different sources. You have Tidal, Qobuz, high-res audio, something in Chinese. I'm not sure what that is. Looks like QQ Music, NetEase Music. Of course, this does support AirPlay. It's Rune ready. However, as I understand it, Rune is not certified yet on the Mini i4. Tidal Connect, Spotify Connect. Then if we go into internet radio, there are several of them on there. Let's here we go. So we'll start at the very beginning there. FM radio. See, these are all in Chinese, so I have no idea what that is. But if we go to VTuner, you have that, and then you have Radio Paradise. pretty much a good overview of the remote app. It works pretty well, especially making it easy to, turn it off, turn it on. And if you have local music on a NAS or whatever, it works pretty doggone well. Qobuz works really, really well as well. I do not have a Tidal subscription. So I tested this with the HIFI Man HE1000 planar headphones, a vintage Yamaha CR820 fully restored receiver. It's all been recapped. It is a excellent sounding receiver with an excellent sounding headphone amplifier built in. And that's what I tested this with. Now, for music, I tested this with Steely Dan. Their Can't Buy a Thrill debut album. Man, you talk about just a great sounding album. And the track, Do It Again, the vocals were superb, very energetic. It's just a super nice track, really great highs, solid bass. And I think this track showcases the vocals a lot. Another track on that album I dearly love is Reelin' in the Years. Again, this is another great test of the mid-range and vocals. Some other music selections was Shelby Lynn. She's kind of a pop and country artist, and her album Tears, Lies, and Alibis. The track Rains Came. If you want to test bass, this is a great track to do it on. And I gotta say, the imaging was very, very, very airy on here, and the detail was there. It's just a track you can really feel. Another example was Santana's Abraxas. I mean, how many people don't love Abraxas? Black Magic Woman. You talk about rich sounding, full bodied, just great texture to this track. The tonality was on point. Everything sounded absolutely fantastic through this DAC streamer. Dire Straits, their self-titled album, Dire Straits, the track Down the Waterline. The opening guitar was powerful. It's very lifelike, just like having a concert in your head. One thing I wanted to comment on was just the build quality of this. You got this nice metal case on here, but it kind of surprised me on the sides were plastic, but they got to do something to keep the price down, right? So, if you're considering something like the Eversolo DMP, was it the A6, which sells for like $850, you might want to consider this and save a little bit more money. Now, there's also the Matrix Audio i4 Pro, which has a fully balanced headphone amplifier, comes with Wi-Fi. I think Bluetooth is also available on that. But, that's several $100s more. If you're looking for something you just put into your rig, set it up, I think you're going to be quite pleased with the Mini 4. I really do. Let's talk about this, just summarizing the sound for you. I would say this is somewhat neutral sounding DAC. It's a great DAC, don't get me wrong. It is musical, but it's never forward. The highs are never shrill. The bass is never muddy or dark. It is always just a very neutral sounding. Highs are bright, they're clean, again, without being shrill. There's a lot of detail there. The Sabre DAC on here does not disappoint. It is a solid performer for its musicality. So let me just share with you what I like about the Mini i4. I think it's an attractive looking device. I think it sounds fantastic. You get a beautiful display. It's $200 less than the Eversolo DMP A6. The built-in DAC chip is excellent, and it has a whole host of inputs that I like. Now, as far as dislikes, basically, I do wish it at least had Wi-Fi built in, and I think at times the touchscreen can be a bit fiddly to work with. So, with all that being said, I think that this offers really good value for the money. It is a solid performer, and I would not hesitate to recommend the Matrix Audio Mini i4. All right? Would not hesitate to recommend this to anybody. And that is my review. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.